Today, I want to share with you how I brainwashed myself to be rich and went from a broke personal trainer to the CEO of a multi-$100 million company in the span of less than a decade. If you don't know who I am, my name is Leila Hormozi. I'm the CEO and founder of Acquisition.com, which is a portfolio of businesses valued at about $500 million.
Leila Hormozi has just presented a foundational, and for many, a deeply unsettling truth. The prerequisite to building wealth is to consciously and systematically ignore the financial advice of those who have not achieved it. This statement is not an invitation to arrogance or a dismissal of loved ones. It is, rather, an initiation into the profound understanding that wealth and poverty are not merely financial states. They are distinct philosophical paradigms built on entirely different psychological architectures. To move from one to the other requires more than a change in action. It demands a complete and total expatriation from one reality and a disciplined naturalization into another. To fully comprehend the weight of this law, we must dissect the invisible forces at play, the cognitive biases, social contracts, and mental frameworks that construct the prison of a broke mentality. The first layer we must peel back is a powerful psychological mechanism known as cognitive dissonance. A human being cannot comfortably hold two contradictory beliefs simultaneously. When someone who has lived a life defined by financial caution, working a steady job for 40 years, avoiding risk, and prioritizing security gives you advice, they are not merely sharing wisdom, they are defending the narrative of their own life. For them to genuinely endorse your high-risk entrepreneurial venture would force them to confront a terrifying possibility that their own for decades of safety might have been a suboptimal path, a trade of immense potential for meager security. This internal contradiction is so psychologically painful that the mind's immediate defense is to invalidate your path, their advice to be realistic, get a safe job, and not get your hopes up is a subconscious act of self-preservation, designed to reinforce the validity of their own life story and resolve their internal dissonance. You are not just fighting their advice, you are fighting their deep-seated need for their own life to have been the right one. This is intricately woven with another cognitive shortcut, confirmation bias. The world is awash with information, and we selectively tune into the frequencies that harmonize with our existing beliefs. A person operating from a scarcity mindset will subconsciously collect evidence that validates their worldview. They will remember every news story of a failed startup, every anecdote of a friend who lost their savings, and every statistic about the difficulty of success. Their information diet consists exclusively of proof that ambition is followed. Consequently, the advice they give you is not a balanced assessment of reality. It is the curated output of a biased information filter. They are not lying to you. They are presenting what they genuinely believe to be the truth, a truth that has been meticulously, if unconsciously, constructed to keep them safe within the confines of their own limited beliefs. When you seek their counsel, you are plugging into a closed loop of self-reinforcing pessimism. This leads us to the sociological pressure Leila alluded to with her own origin story, the crab bucket phenomenon. This is often misinterpreted as simple jealousy, but its roots are deeper and more complex. Humans are tribal creatures, and our sense of identity and security is tied to our position within our tribe. When you begin to change to adopt new habits, speak a new language of possibility, and achieve results the group deems impossible, you become a threat to the tribe's social homeostasis. Your success implicitly questions the group's collective identity and norms. It creates a new hierarchy and forces everyone to reevaluate their own position. The act of pulling you back down is a subconscious attempt to restore the familiar order and protect the group's shared identity from the discomfort of your evolution. It is often cloaked in the language of concern. We're just worried about you. We don't want to see you get hurt. But beneath the surface, it is the immune system of the collective consciousness trying to neutralize a foreign agent to your ambition. To truly escape this gravitational pull, you must understand the concept of mental models, or what can be termed a financial operating system. Every person runs their life on an OS composed of deeply ingrained beliefs about how the world works. The scarcity race that powers the broke mentality has several core functions. It operates on zero-sum thinking. For me to win, someone else must lose. Its primary directive is risk aversion. It processes opportunities through a filter of fear. Its user interface is defined by an external locus of control, constantly blaming the government, the economy, or the rich for its lack of progress. Its code is written in the language of I can't. Conversely, the Abundance OS is built on a positive sum framework. We can create new value so everyone wins. Its prime directive is calculated risk management. It views challenges not as threats, but as data points for learning and iteration. Its user interface is defined by an internal locus of control, a radical ownership of one's own outcomes. Its code is written in the language of how can I? The advice you receive from someone is a direct output of their operating system. You cannot run abundance-based software on a scarcity-based OS. The attempt will result in a system crash. Ignoring broke advice is the act of uninstalling the faulty OS you were likely given at birth and beginning the painstaking, deliberate process of installing a new one, line by line, through new information and new associations. This process is so difficult because it requires you to consciously reject your shared social reality. Your perception of what is possible is largely a consensus agreement with the people closest to you. If everyone in your circle agrees that earning $100,000 a year is a monumental achievement, that agreement forms the boundary of your perceived reality. To aim for $10 million is to declare that their reality is too small for you. It is an act of philosophical rebellion. You are essentially claiming that the matrix they inhabit is not the only one that exists. This is why moving to a new environment, as Leila did, is such a powerful catalyst. It's not just about the new location. It's about entering a new consensus. Reality where the ceiling of possibility is dramatically higher. It provides proof of concept that a different world, governed by different rules, exists. Let us be clear about what broke truly means in this context. It is not exclusively a measure of a person's bank account. It is a diagnosis of their philosophy. There are people with steady incomes who are intellectually and spiritually broke, trapped in a cage of fear and limiting beliefs. Conversely, there are entrepreneurs who are temporarily cash flow negative but who possess an extraordinarily wealthy mindset. The determining factor is the OS they are running. The question is not how much money do they have, but how do they think? What are the principles that guide their decisions? Do they operate from a place of possibility or a place of limitation? Your work is to become a diagnostician of mindsets, learning to identify the subtle cues of the scarcity OS in the wild. These cues are often hidden in common language. Deconstruct the seemingly harmless phrases you hear. Be realistic is an instruction to lower your standards to match the speakers. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush is a mantra for choosing certainty over opportunity, the very essence of stagnation. It must be nice is a passive-aggressive dismissal of the hard work and risk required to achieve success, attributing it to luck. Learning to hear these phrases not as friendly advice, but as injections of mental poison is a critical survival skill. Each one is a small anchor attempting to tether you to the dock of mediocrity.so. How does one ignore this advice without creating relation chaos? It is an art of delicate social surgery. First, you must curate your information diet with ruthless discipline. Stop discussing your ambitions with those who are not qualified to comment on them. When they offer unsolicited advice, you do not need to argue. You can simply nod, say thank you for that perspective, I'll think about it, and mentally discard the information. This is the grey rock method. You become so unresponsive and uninteresting on the topic that they cease to engage. Second, you must separate the person from their philosophy. You can love your family and friends for the emotional support and history you share, while creating an impenetrable boundary around the domain of business and finance. Their input is simply not granted access to that part of your mind. Third, and most importantly, you must proactively seek out a new tribe. Build your own board of directors, mentors, peers, and masterminds who are operating on the Abundance OS. This new environment will not only provide you with the correct advice, but will also normalize your ambition, making you feel less like an outlier and more like you are exactly where you belong. Ultimately, this entire endeavor is about understanding that your financial journey is a reflection of your personal evolution. Money is a lagging indicator of your character, your discipline, and the quality of the problems you choose to solve. The advice from a broke mindset keeps you from developing the very traits required to become wealthy: resilience, courage, problem-solving ability, and long-term vision. It advises you to avoid the very challenges that would forge you into a person capable of commanding wealth. By choosing to ignore this counsel, you are not just choosing a different financial outcome, you are choosing to become a different person. You are choosing to embark on the difficult path of self-transformation, with the understanding that the wealth you accumulate will simply be a byproduct of the valuable person you become along the way. This is the non-negotiable first principle. It is the gate through which all other strategies and tactics must pass. Without mastering your environment and the inputs you allow into your mind, no amount of hard work or clever strategy will save you. You will be perpetually swimming against a current of limitation. To choose your advisors is to choose your destiny. If this deeper insight resonated with you, subscribe for more analyses and share in the comments how this principle shifts your perspective. To get the full original context from the source, make sure to watch Leila's complete video linked in the description below.